It's faith, then action, results. The process is so simple, but it's not very easy.
It's so powerful when we're talking about your way of thinking, because every thought carries a certain amount of frequency.
When you are living for the world, you crave the acceptance of people, but you will die by their criticism.
Welcome you guys to the Level Up Lounge. Here we have another episode of the podcast, but now it's going to be a little different. We finally have a guest on the podcast, and it's been a long time due to have a guest, but we're slowly working our way up to this moment. And from here on out, we're going to have more guests on the podcast in all effort to make your life better through the stories they've experienced and everything on top of that. So the guest we have today is a really good friend of mine that I grew up with. I grew up with him, and just seeing him grow from where we were then until where we are now. I feel like we had a very similar growth story where we've had very similar experiences and came to the same conclusion of I guess, wisdom. And I chose Mr. Carlo Canales to be my first guest because our conversations is something I feel like other people need to hear. And I think you guys will find a lot of value out of our conversations. Without further ado, Carlo, welcome to the Level Up Lounge podcast.
All right. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy you're here and happy you also gave me the space of your home to shoot this podcast.
Yeah.
This is sick. This is a sick podcast setup. So I appreciate that. And just, for accepting the invitation of being the first podcast guest.
Yeah. This is a room that has been needed to be put to good use. So I'm glad we're doing this here.
Yeah, 100%.
Thanks for having me too, by the way.
Of course. Yeah. I'm grateful that you're the first one because, again, we're close friends and we've had a lot of moments together and a lot of growth together, hardships and all those moments. So to share this opportunity or this experience with you is definitely a blessing overall.
Yeah. I can say the same for you. I've seen your growth. I've seen the way that you've kind of opened up to the world about your conviction, about how you feel about certain things I'm sure we're going to get into. Really proud of you to see your growth, to even be here, be doing this. This is something I didn't think we'd be doing a month ago, but we're here now. And I really hope and pray that anyone listening to this hears what we have to say with your hearts open and with love being on your mind. Yeah. And again, thanks for having me. So
yeah, 100%. And I appreciate your kind words for that. But okay, let's get straight into it. So we're going to just start off with a question and we're going to end with a question. But this first question it's a pretty deep question. So it will definitely give us room to navigate the conversation through wherever. So the question I have for you is, what's one lesson you wished you learned earlier in life? I know it's a thought-provoking question, but again, this question can open up so many more doors to conversation for the both of us.
Okay, that's a really good question. I think that a lot of people need to ask themselves this more frequently, but on a more personal level, I think I'm going to answer your question with kind of a boring answer, but I think that it's a blank canvas sort of answer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those where you can kind of make what you can out of it because of the answer you'll hear me say, but be yourself. Be yourself. Be unapologetically yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is because for a large part of my life, I felt like really compelled, especially since I was a little boy, to conform to the standards and the applications of society in which we shine nowadays. Now I feel like there really is no emphasis on the true self.
Mm-hmm.
which, I mean, we can go down a huge rabbit hole of self and where and why and how we're created. But to answer your question firmly, I really think that I wish I was myself a lot earlier in life. Although I don't regret anything, I don't regret any decision I've ever made. But being myself has led me to this exact point to where I can confidently say that love is the leader of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're going to get into this a little more in depth. I'm sure we are, but
100%.
I feel like with a proper mindset and a calm, really calculated approach to life, all while being yourself, is crucial and critical to honestly getting anything you want,
Mm-hmm.
any desire of your life done and finished.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what this podcast is. It's the Level Up Lounge, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a place where people can come, listen to other people's testimonies, and learn, grow, be yourself. This isn't a place where you are to like compare yourself to us or to me or to him. But yeah, I think
I love that.
I went around in circles, but
No, I mean,
being yourself, I think
100%.
I think it sounds very cliche to say, but I think that it's taken me now about 4 years to feel
Mm-hmm.
like actually confident being myself, talking in front of a camera, like knowing that people are going to see this
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that answer because, I mean, yes, it's as simple as being yourself, but it's not as simple as it is because when you're being yourself, you come from a place of confidence and like self, like a power inside of you where you don't have to be anyone else. And when you find your role in your place and in your world, you have a lot of your approach to everything is just a lot more peaceful because you don't try to conform or you don't try to shape yourself into someone else's ideal way that you want them to do. And I think, especially in the society we live in right now, with social media and all these pictures people paint on their pages, it's not like it's so easy to get lost and to compare yourself to someone else. But when you're trying to act out of yourself, you know, your true self, you're actually going against your personal plan. And I know how you said it took you around 4 years to find, you know, that. I mean, we still don't know our true self right now. You know, we're always that's a
true.
never ending quest, if you will. But once you're just comfortable in your skin, I think life just starts getting fun because like this is you, and that's a whole journey of growth, really. And how you said leading with love is the most important thing because if you lead with love, you really can't lose. You can't lose because when you lead with love, it comes with patience. You understand there's a process to growth and development. You know, I think people forget of how grateful we should be that we live on this earth and have the people in our lives. And that's something that I always try to remind myself is to be very grateful of where I'm at and where I'm going because we only get to live one life, really. And it's really important to always stay in the mind of gratitude because it will help you to be humble, right? Because we have to be humble in this world. But then it also makes it fun because you're living the human experience. The human experience is about hardships, it's about success, overcoming doubts. That's what makes us human. And that's what sets us apart from all the other species is our mind and our emotions. But that's the most beautiful thing ever, though. And whenever you're tuned into that emotion, that state of mind, if you will, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Just living the human experience. And that's honestly what I want to do for this podcast is just share other people's story like yourself that had different upbringings and different backgrounds. And for you guys, the audience, to listen to the podcast and take little things, little lessons and apply to your life and, you know, go out there and do something, take a risk, do something different. Especially if you're young, like take the risk and keep going. Put some spice in your life, you know, don't just cook raw chicken, right? Put some salt, put some pepper, put some paprika, whatever you want to put in it. And that's kind of the approach I try to live life, is to always do something different, something that gets me uncomfortable, so I can always be living life on the edge. I mean, even this podcast right here, having you as a guest is another step for me. I've never done this before, but we need change
Neither have
too.
I.
Yeah, this is your first time doing it as well. But I was saying that we need change. We need to put ourselves in hard situations in order for us to grow our capacity of growth.
I think everything you're saying falls right along the lines of something that I heard that changed my life several years ago. That a man only has two lives, and the second one starts when he realizes he only has one.
Mm.
So, what are you waiting for?
Mm-hmm.
Is my question for you. You're here for a reason. I think that what George was saying is completely and most importantly valid. In order to be successful in life, I have personally found the strategy of just surrendering and gratuity as a daily practice to be the forefront of what I have chosen for my life, of what and for I have chosen my life to look like. If I'm really going to be honest, I think about 5 years ago, I had this like really, 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 really strong urge and feeling to. It's going to sound maybe a little cringy, but this is my story. This is my testimony. But find myself when I was 19. I had just graduated from high school. I had moved to San Antonio for college. I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with the way that my part of the whole looked to me, my perception. This falls right along the lines of being yourself, but I think that I think that in order to reach a point in life, just like George was saying, to where being comfortable in your own skin is a form and a way of life in which you find not one instance of resistance in your mind of you doing. It's really a verbiage. I feel like it's much easier said than done. And once it's done, though, however, which I can confidently say that I'm a true testament to the grace of God and the ability that He's given me to do just that. I really feel like back 5 years ago, I really had to make some sacrifices, some choices to where I that would lead me actually to physically change my environment, to really hone in on what I believed to be at the time what God was calling me to do, which was deleting all social media. I feel like that was choice number one. I didn't exactly know why at the time I felt the need to do it, but I did. And I realize now 5 years later that that is the best choice I think I've made in my entire life to level up, to find
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Yeah.
And the reason behind that is because when you are living for the world, you crave the acceptance of people,
Mm-hmm.
but you will die by their criticism.
Mm-hmm.
You will die.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
will die. It's a very broad saying, but apply that to your lives and ask yourselves, what areas in your life are you living for the acceptance of others
Mm-hmm.
and dying by the criticism of others? Hindering your success, hindering the the success of your desired reality to be your actual true reality. And again, that's why I'm so proud of you, because you had this idea several years ago, I believe, and
Mm-hmm.
to start talking to people, to start getting the message out there, to start getting the word out there. I mean, really, what you're doing and what I'm trying to do for you guys, because you know, my best friend asked me to, is give encouragement to you guys, and I really feel like without an example like you for your community,
Mm-hmm.
you know, your group of followers, your group of avid Level Up Lounge listeners. I feel like you guys are here in a good place, because what you guys don't see, but what I do see is the background. What happens when the camera's off? And this guy is grinding, talking to God, exploring, loving, going through hardships, trials and tribulations. I've seen him in the deepest of darkest of valleys. And let's get it out there. Let's be honest. Like,
Mm-hmm.
everyone goes through that. And what you see here is the byproduct of your tenacity and your ability to not give up on what you want to do with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something I wanted to say earlier, by the way, but
Mm-hmm.
admire what you're doing and everything.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, going back, deleted social media, went on a journey to find myself, made really good decisions, made really stupid decisions. But remember, I said I don't regret any of them, because every decision I've ever made has led me to this point in time in my life, to where I feel the most confidence I've ever felt in my life to be speaking
Mm-hmm.
for you guys, for you listeners. Did that. Another big decision I made was accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, about a year ago, I would have been so embarrassed and shy to say,
Mm-hmm.
but none of what I am telling you guys here today, none of what George is telling you guys here today, because I'll get into that later, but none of what I'm saying specifically is truly from me.
Mm-hmm.
I am just a vessel that brings a message to the world, and I live in accordance to the higher power that governs my life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's faith, then action, results. Faith, action, results. Faith, action, results. I think that you guys can apply that to anything in your lives. It's the same thing I've done. The process is so simple, but it's not very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you guys need some encouragement, I think this is a good place to be.
Well, thanks for sharing that, and I really appreciate you and the kind words that you just said about, I guess, like my growth in general, just all areas in faith and in the physical world as well, the podcasts, and everyone has a purpose, and I think I'm just trying to find mine, and that's all it is. That's all I'm trying to do. But I kind of want to go back to that what you said about faith, action, and results. That's the formula. That's literally the formula to achieve the life that you want, but some people get stuck on the action part, or no, even the faith part. Even right now, at the stage of life and the stage of my podcast and my content, doubt is still in my mind. And I think that's a big thing I want to touch upon for you guys listening as well. Doubt is never going to leave your mind. Fear is never going to leave your mind. But the difference between the people that make it and don't are the people that act on the fear, that don't listen to it and does a total opposite. And once you're able to get comfortable and being uncomfortable in that idea, then you will start seeing change. Because, I mean, the definition of insanity is doing things over and over and over again and not expecting a different result. And that's the thing I had to learn with myself, that if I'm going to grow and I'm going to want to change my life, I have to do things differently, even if it's the most uncomfortable thing. I mean, it was super uncomfortable for me when I first started the podcast with the camera, with buying. I took the risk. I invested thousands of dollars, but because I had faith, and could have not done this if it wasn't for my relationship with God and Jesus. It really isn't. I can't picture my life without them, because they give me my faith, and we all need faith in this life. If you need to believe in something to drive you. I think the question you ask yourself, like, where are you getting your fuel from? And it all goes back, what's your why? You have to find that why. And I encourage everyone listening to this podcast, you have to find that why before you get started. And my why is my Savior, my Lord and Savior, Jesus. And I learned throughout the journey, I know you experienced this as well, Carlo. Like whenever you play out of bounds and you're not playing by the rules of God, then you start feeling resistance. You start feeling friction, conviction even.
Wrath.
Yeah. Whenever I started following God, I started to understand the meaning of fear God, literally fear God. But again, He's so kind and graceful with everything that you do. This journey of just growing in general, and I have to tell you, Carlo, like I've told you this many times off camera, but I'm so grateful to have you in my life because you are a mentor of mine as well. Like we have conversations on the phone for hours. Something's going on, something's rolling in my life that maybe not being going so well. I seek you for guidance, and you always have really good answer that I apply in my life, and then it helps me out a lot. You have a lot of wisdom, and that's why you're my first guest.
Yeah.
You have a lot of wisdom because you do a lot of reflection, self reflection. I think that's what comes from wisdom, like and I use that word intentionally, wisdom, because wisdom comes from God. And if you're a follower of God and you reflect and you see kind of the world through the perspective of Jesus, you can see through things. You can see through the facade,
Mm-hmm.
the things that are playing, but you know what's right, you know what's true, and that's why Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life.
Yep.
Right? So when you follow Him, you get a lot clearer picture of the things around you, and then therefore you start living a more blissful, joyful life. And that's all I want for you guys listening is I want you guys to live comfortably in your own skin, like Carlos said, being yourself, believe in something, and also have a target. Like you have to have something you're chasing after. You have to have a bullseye, because a person without a purpose, like what is that? You get me? Like you need a purpose. You need something to light your a fire in your butt.
Yes, we every single person with a beating heart on this planet right now, no matter where you are in life, I firmly believe that no matter what you believe in, no matter what you stand for, no matter what side of the sideline you're on,
Mm-hmm.
every single one of us has an affinity for authority.
Mm-hmm.
For authority.
Yeah.
We have the free will to choose our authority. And it's really interesting that we're talking about this now, because I was actually reflecting a lot today. Specifically, we're filming this on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
There are two ways of life that you can live by. You have two choices. You really only have two choices. You can live the life through wisdom, or you can have life like live through you through foolishness.
And real quick, we're saying fool because in the Bible it talks about
Yes.
the people that are going against or like
Yes.
resisting the word of God. He labels them as fools. We're not calling you fools.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're
I guess I should have
we're taking it from the Bible.
clarified
All right?
that earlier, but
Okay.
I think a fool is someone that in English or in layman's terms, I think that a fool is someone that denies that it is an absolute miracle that we are all here,
Mm.
like on this earth. The fact that you are listening to me speak, the fact that you came out of like your mother's womb,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we just have an affinity for creating more and more life, more and more value, more and more wisdom. I want you guys to start picturing something in your mind, and later when I'm done explaining what foolishness is, I'll getting ahead of myself, but targetless, self-savior, victimhood,
Mm.
I think are all really key attributes of a foolish man or foolish woman. I think that someone finds no joy in the beauty of life that just is.
Mm.
Number one, just that's the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Their frequency, like I like to say, their baseline levels are subpar
Mm-hmm.
to the beauty of what already is, of this life, of this world. The sun comes up, sun comes down. Rain comes down from the sky, rain comes back up. And I'll explain on that right now. But a foolish man acts with no wisdom. A foolish man acts on selfish desires. And I really think that in order to to if you really want growth in your life and if you really want to shift in your life, you have to let, number one, God be your leader, but number two, let his wisdom pour into your heart. I really like this analogy, but God doesn't let any rain or snow come down to this earth and touch the ground and not let that rain nourish any seed of any plant or of any crop to grow before it comes back up into the sky to then be recycled over and over and over and over again. When you internally shift into this mindset, into an agreement with yourself, first of all, to start living in a way where wisdom is the lens that you of which you see the world through, automatically you will start seeing the little gems here and there that are offered to you. But then there's something called free will.
Mm-hmm.
Free will combined with wisdom, I really think are when you have those two things combined and working well together, all in constitution for the greater good of your part in the whole, and then the whole's part in the whole of the universe. I feel like that is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Free will and wisdom. It is when you and me and you have the foresight, have the trust in God, and honestly the trust in yourself as well, to use your free will to your advantage. Choose wisdom. Choose the word of God. Listen to your intuition. In meaning inner, tuition meaning guidance. Use your intuition and use it as a fire that lights up in your soul every time you wake up in the morning. A hunger, I like to describe it as. But really, really going back to the analogy, like if you really think about it, the foolish man does not have that circle of life, of rain, more specifically, that I just described. The foolish man, metaphorically, figuratively, physically, literally, in today's day and age, can only look at himself for self-gratification. He is his own God. So what I think of when I see people, just like the facade you were just talking about, how when you live this way of life, you can see different little things where it's like, I picture a man just like looking down at himself always, looking at his hands, looking at himself. The self-perception of the world being revolved around you, and the foolish desire to really not let the knocking on your door, which is the Holy Spirit of like, hey, there's an inner calling on your life to follow me. You should open the door. That's your free will. You should open the door. To completely deny that, to live by the world's standards, to have faith in the praise that you hear from other people, but then die by their criticism. You're living a lifeless life. You really are. And when you live through wisdom, you are drinking, you are nourishing yourself from a well that is never ending. And I like this, never ending with like milk and honey. There's a lot of references in the Bible to milk and honey, the delicacies of that time. It never ends. And I feel like in order to level up for you guys, for me personally, I know for you as well, if you're struggling with that, open up with prayer. I really feel like pray what's on your heart. Be frank. Pray for what you want. Like this is a God that I have so many stories with, of the ways that he's moved in my life. Ask for wisdom, ask for teaching, ask for guidance. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if one of you guys listening now like hopped on this video right after you just prayed for wisdom, because
Mm-hmm.
that is how God works. That is how God moves. But yeah, I really feel like it's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a verb. It's a verbiage. It's a picture in motion. This isn't just an idea. It isn't just a framework. It isn't just a scaffolding to be a morally good person. It's a way of life,
Yeah.
essentially. And I really feel like I said earlier, I've seen that in you, and I smile when I say that because yes, it's really that simple, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really all it is. And I promise you guys, the internal satiation you'll feel in your gut, in your mind, when you truly surrender,
Mm-hmm.
it's unexplainable. And don't just live vicariously through me or through George. Do it for yourself. You owe it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You were made in the image of God. And the reason why he gave us free will is the same reason why like we choose to take breath after breath. It's
Mm-hmm.
like he put us here on this earth, knowing the amount of hairs that we have on our heads, knowing our death day, knowing every single little detail, no matter how intimate it is about us. But he shows you the world. He shows you the wrath of the world. He shows you the starkness and the blankness and the hole in the world,
Mm-hmm.
spiritually, mentally.
Mm-hmm.
The bride and the groom, Jesus and God. I really feel like this is a moment in time where this is where the people need to hear, George. This is what they need to hear. This is where they need to hear it. But like Jesus is calling you, essentially. That's what it is. I know for you avid listeners, take a prayer. Take a prayer after this. Pray for yourselves. Pray that you guys seek guidance, seek wisdom, seek clarity. Some things that may seem so trivial, like what is the meaning of life, your prayers will be answered.
Mm-hmm.
So that's with full confidence right there. And if they're not, trust his timing and
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
Sorry if that was
No, don't worry.
my
I
first
have you on the podcast,
my
so I
first
wanted you.
podcast ever. I just
I want you to speak
yeah.
your wisdom, dude, because I mean that's why I brought you on the podcast. Because you've poured so much into me, and I want you to pour so much into my audience, people listening, and everything's divine timing. And you and me
Yeah.
understand that. You and me know where everything comes from. But I kind of want to go back on that analogy you used with rain and snow, and just kind of that cycle. Um, I kind of it just reminds me of like seasons of life, because when it rains, then you will get a rainbow right after. Kind of just like repeats itself over and over and over again, because hardships are a part of life, and I think you just can't avoid it. So why avoid it if it's gonna happen anyways? Instead, just charge at it. I think there's a saying: charge at the storm, like like a buffalo. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't. But
So the way it
yeah.
goes, basically, when a storm's coming, I think it's cows. Cows, they go away from the storm. They try to run away from the storm.
Mhm.
But buffalo, they charge at the storm. They run towards the rain so they can get on the other side faster, right? So that is very powerful, because when you're intentionally going after these difficult things, your version of your storm, instead of running away from it and avoiding it, you run after it and you get to the other side faster. Like ever since I started implementing that in my life, things start happening faster, because yes, I was afraid of being on camera. Now it's like, okay, what's the next step? These lights, right? Or posting the content. And I think it's very important for everyone to understand, like whenever you want to get started on something, you want to get uncomfortable, be okay with that idea of just being uncomfortable. And you will learn so much about yourself whenever you're in those uncomfortable situations. And then, looking to God to find the wisdom and to guide you to those things. But also when you ask for patience, put through some tribulations, you're gonna
Oh
get
yeah.
you're gonna learn how to get patience through
Oh yeah.
God's way. Because everything you think that you want, like you want your ideal way of life, that's not gonna
It's
happen.
the death of the self. It's the
Yeah.
death of the ego.
Yes,
It's
yes.
that needs to happen before you walk through the doors and surrender to your creator,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And for as long as anyone delays that process, like the longer and longer and longer and longer it'll take,
Exactly.
not even to like experience your desired reality. I mean, like that's after the fact. That's after you finish the struggle of like, okay, who am I? Your self identity. There's a process
Mm-hmm.
to that, to which you speak of.
Yes.
And
100%. The process, and that's kind of what we talked about before, Hava.
yeah,
There's a process when it comes to where you want to go from point A to point Z. Actually, there's no ending, right?
yeah,
There's no ending. But you have to be very intentional with your growth and understand this process. It's going to take long. That's the thing. That's the thing I had to accept with myself when I first started my journey, because I had a similar experience with the negativity of myself in order to find my higher self, if you will. But the only way I'm here where I got right now, and I say that the most humble way possible, was through my negative experiences and having those deep conversations, those with myself to understand who am I and who do I want to be in this world. And once I kind of had an idea of that, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try my best and God do the rest. And that's honestly all we can do. Try your best and have faith. Try your best, have faith. Try your best, have faith. And sometimes, there's going to be moments, and I've done this before, where I question God. I'm like, hey, I'm doing this. Am I supposed to be doing something else? Like, what else? Like, I'm trying my best to follow you in your word, listening and trying my best to act out the word as well. But like, am I even going the right way? Because I don't see anything yet. I was meditating one time, and then thought crossed my mind about, if I want great success in my life, I have to be able to move like this little hill first before I can move this mountain. So in other words, God won't give you your dreams and desires unless you can move this pebble. You can carry this pebble.
yeah,
And slowly you build up your endurance. You build up your endurance to carry these bigger weights and to be able to move these mountains. Because especially if you're when you're running with God, he wants the best plan for you. But he's going to build you first. So you can have the capacity to sustain what's going to happen in your life.
yeah,
And that's the thing I had to understand myself. Like, I wanted things fast, but now I'm like I like the slow life. I love it.
yeah.
I love the process. And that's where the grind, if you will, becomes fun. Cause I heard this, I don't know who said that. I don't know if it's Conor McGregor or someone. They said, like once you make it out, like once you're successful, quote unquote successful, you're gonna miss the grind because the grind is what got you there.
Yeah.
So every time I feel any hardship, when I'm feeling frustrated or mad at something, I put a smile on my face and I start laughing because this is your story, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing ever. Like, this is my story. This is my own personal movie that I'm in. And in reality, we are living our own movies
Yeah, we are.
because
Yeah.
you have your own perspective. I have my own perspective. And you see the world through your views. I see the world through my views. And then the viewers, too, they see the world through their views as well. But a huge part of that is to step into that role that you're meant to do, to be yourself, and do what God made you to do here in this earth. And that's where, like, oh, yeah, I'm the director of the movie. Oh, I can change my reality. And that's where you start having fun, right?
Yeah. I think that the time in my life in which I was dying was the time in my life in which I was so focused on the outcome of my of my ambitions. I hated the process. I hated
Mm-hmm.
the idea of putting in the work I genuinely didn't want to put in to get to where I wanted to be. And like I said earlier, a man has two lives, and the second one starts when he realizes he only has one. Compare that man to the man that is completely and utterly just devoted and dedicated to his craft,
Mm-hmm.
to
That's a
his
scary man.
Yes.
That's a scary man.
That is a man that is tenacious, or woman too.
Yeah, women
It
too.
applies to
Yeah,
you
yeah,
women
yeah,
too.
yeah.
We love you guys.
Yeah.
But that man has his internal compass shifted to a degree where I don't even think I think less than 0.1% of the population
Mm-hmm.
has their compass shifted to that exact measurement, that exact degree
Mm-hmm.
in which you know you are of the crowd that believes that through the works backed by your faith you will have your outcome. I believe the biggest hindrance to people's success, and of course everyone measures success in different ways, but however you measure success, literally the only thing that is keeping you from being where you want to be is your own selfish desire to control the reality in which God was meant to control
Mm-hmm.
for you.
Mm. It's powerful.
It is. It is powerful. And although it's stated so many times in the Bible,
Yeah.
it's common knowledge. It's kind of like,
Real quick, if you guys want the cheat code to life, read the Bible. That's it.
yeah. Yeah.
That's about it. You want like the cheat codes, like, you know, getting what is it, GTA, where you put the little.
Yeah.
Did you play GTA?
Kind of.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, basically, you did like these
Kind
whole
of.
things with the controller, and then you get like a brand new car, or like the
I,
helicopter falls in the
I
sky.
used to have those. I used to go to GameStop when I had a PS2 in elementary school, and I would buy those cheat code books.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
100%,
the
100%.
games you had, you could
Yeah.
put the cheat codes in.
Yeah,
That's what the Bible is, just
for life,
for
this
scale
for
of
the
life.
Matrix. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, that man is a scary man
Mm-hmm.
because absolutely nothing, and or anything that treads up ahead of him on his path
Mm-hmm.
even stands a chance of survival. Any fear, any doubt,
Mm-hmm.
something I used to struggle with. I'll be open and clear with.
Mm-hmm.
Anger. I was a very angry child. I was a very angry little boy. I even struggled with it like 2-3 years ago. That was that's a small little example of a hindrance that was on my road to the hava, and I'll explain that right now. But the hava behind internally shifting to a degree in which you're no longer able to let anything from your physical reality, the true reality you see with your eyes, like affect
Mm-hmm.
your moral compass, like in here,
Your foundation.
because you know it in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And in your mind it's so rock solid. The only things you're focused on is your grind, your journey, who put you there, who is still keeping you there. It's God.
Mm-hmm.
And the outcome will come.
Exactly.
The outcome will come.
Mm-hmm.
Me, you, all you listeners that are listening to this, none of us have reached our highest and most banner worthy success yet.
Mm-hmm.
I am a testament to the things that I'm a testament to the way that God can move in your life. I can confidently say that. I'm also a testament to striving to be that man that I speak of.
Mm-hmm.
That man that I don't even think words can do it justice, but you know that when that guy walks into that room, like he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knows what he's
And you
doing.
can feel that.
You can feel that.
You can feel the energy.
You can feel it up and down. And one thing I forgot to mention earlier is that a person that lives through wisdom and with wisdom in their eyes, you have to be one of the most teachable people. Sorry,
Teachable.
teachable,
100%.
approachable,
Mm-hmm.
coachable,
Yeah.
formable, moldable.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, wisdom is like
It's in all shapes and forms.
It's in all shapes and forms. It's
You can find it
for-
everywhere.
It's guidance. It's
Mhm.
it's in all practices. The same kind of wisdom you have when you're 18 is not going to be the same kind of wisdom you need to have when you're 50. The trait that kills the foolish man is that, like I said earlier, they are their own gods. Therefore, like, they have built up the walls around their lives and no one can come in
The ego.
No one can come in and tell them what to do or tell them how to do this better or suggest, even a suggestion.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the ego is the one that, if ego runs your life, ego can be your death,
Yeah.
literally, because you're just resisting to what is, and you're trying to shape your reality to what you want it to be. But newsflash, this is not your world.
Nope.
This is not our world. We don't live in a world that we want it to be. Yes, like we can try our best to, achieve our goals and try to paint the dream life. But yet again, like, you have to have humility. It's not your world. This is God's world. And you mentioned earlier about surrendering. And surrendering is so important because that's part of killing the ego. You have to surrender to what is, and what is God's will. And just listen. Kind of going back to where wisdom is everywhere, where you're like your student cap everywhere you go. There's always going to be a lesson. And it doesn't matter if someone is on top of you or in the same level or lower than you. Everyone has their own experience. And from their experience, you can learn something from it. You drive down the road and you can miss a pothole because you learned and you were taking action and being intentional with your learning. And I always preach that. And I always try to remind myself that, like, yeah, you just don't know anything yet. Like, you don't know anything and don't think you know anything. We read the book, 4 Agreements. Like, don't never assume. Never assume. If you assume, then you created a fixed reality already. That's the ego.
Don't make any assumptions about anyone that you come in contact with. Do not take anything personally.
Mm-hmm.
Try your absolute best at everything and anything you do, and be impeccable with your word.
That's the 4 laws of the 4 Agreements. That's what you're talking about.
Impeccable, the I am meaning without, and then peccable meaning sin. Like, impeccable, without sin.
Mm-hmm.
Your tongue can bring life or death onto other people, but most importantly to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
so important.
what
I'm actually glad you brought that up, about the tongue.
Yeah.
The tongue is so powerful. It can be your biggest success or your biggest downfall. And, you can build your reputation all your life, but you can ruin your reputation in like 10 seconds because something you say or something maybe you do. So that's also, wise words from Carlo, and also the Bible, because the Bible always says it. Watch what you say and and how you speak, because it's either you're speaking life into someone or you're taking away some of that energy and that life from someone with just encouraging words, with like toxic conversations, gossip, all the ways of the enemy. If you use those words, then you're vibrating on a low frequency.
Yeah. I firmly believe that in English, in layman's terms, any and every negativity that you try to project on someone, even yourself, whether it's a thought, whether it's words, whether it's actions, whether you inflict harm, or whether it's a harmless thought of that bystander walking by you on the street, like, the way that God set up that circuit to work is to where it starts with you and it ends with you. It's going to come full circle.
Mm-hmm.
By you thinking that bystander on the side of the street, and I'm just using a simple example, but like, you don't like the way that person's dressed, or like that guy sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but that guy sucks. I just don't like the way he's walking. Like, your tongue, they don't even know what you're thinking about them. It doesn't affect them. You're only affecting yourself. You're bringing death to yourself through a vindication you're trying to shine on, a vindication of negativity that you're trying to shine on someone else. Why? Because there's a deep hole of insecurity in your gut, and there's a feeling missing in there. That's a fool.
Yeah.
That's a fool. And I feel like with what you were saying earlier about like facades, that one little white lie you tell yourself in your mind will become something you begin to speak upon people.
Mm-hmm.
Something you begin to do is what I see a lot of people doing. And there's whole like, again, I know it's entertainment, but there's entire like reality TV shows based upon talking behind people's back and slander and
Mm-hmm.
a spirit and a state of destroying
Mm-hmm.
the life of people. But I feel like slowly but surely what people don't realize is that, and if you do, bless your heart because you just got saved. But the negativity you place into the world, God has set that up to where there's a mirror in front of you everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
Positivity passes through that mirror and spreads. It spreads. There's a verse in the Bible that speaks about the vindication of like your desires shining like the noonday sun.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be placed through like really through anything. Like that positivity that you choose to display over that negativity will shine like the noonday sun. And you know how bright the sun is here in
Mm-hmm.
Texas. Like,
Yeah.
and
Cooks you up.
what I'm saying is like negativity has no bounds or has no playing field in this world with people if you are a follower of God. And like the way he set it up is it's just going to come right back to you. It's going to
Mm-hmm.
come right back to you. And I'm saying this from experience. I'm trying to pick like
Mm-hmm.
pull together the explanation behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that is much better felt than said or explained, or maybe in the comments below
Yeah.
start a discussion. I don't know, but
Yeah.
like negativity is a real thing. Energy is a real thing. Spirits are real things. The curses you place on other people are real things. The curse that you place on that bystander that knows nothing about you,
Mm-hmm.
it only comes right back to you.
Yeah.
That's the law of the nature. That is essentially the law of attraction.
I was just about to say that.
That is the law of
The
attraction.
law of attraction.
Law of attraction. Whatever you place into the world will only reflect. The mirror does not see, it only reflects who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
So if you're a bad person, and if you want to be better, and if you know you're a bad person, and if you know you have those thoughts, hey, I'm guilty of it. I'm sure you are too.
Yep.
Pick yourself up, forgive yourself, and move forward. Be the gatekeeper of your mind, be the gatekeeper of your heart. Take every single thought that you have captive in your mind and make it God's.
Mm-hmm.
You will be fine.
Yeah. The law of attraction is, and if for my loyal listeners, I talk about it, about, well, I don't say the law of attraction, but I just say the world's a mirror of everything that you portray into the world will come back to you. Every single thing, every single thought, every single action. And it's so powerful when we're talking about your way of thinking, because every thought carries a certain amount of frequency. Because we ourselves are energy, we are frequency ourselves. Like we all operate on different levels of frequency, and our thoughts is what I like to think of our thoughts like the remote control of our life. Do you want to see the good channel or do you want to see the bad channel? And we have our mind's so powerful that we get to choose the reality in that sense. Because if we want to look in for good in the world and the opportunities in the world, then we can find it. It's all around us. But if you want to look for, I don't know, the bad stuff, if you want to look at, like, you're thinking of a scarcity mindset, that the world is actually full of people that talk shit, the world is full of backstabbers, then all you're going to think of is just, where can I validate this thought that I'm thinking in my head? And then you'll find it. You'll literally find it. And you can find it like on the TV. It's like, yep, I was right. This is the way the world works. And
You're
that's
only
just,
looking for ways to prove yourself right when you're
yes,
yeah.
exactly. That's what it is. And then you're just gonna be on a hamster wheel. It goes over and over and over
You're on a
again.
never-ending perpetual cycle of disappointment in the
Yeah.
world, and that's how you get people who are part of the 99% of people who, again, bless their hearts,
Mm-hmm.
and I pray for them. But those are the people that always find disappointment in life, that aren't even like soft-headed enough to believe that there is a better way of life. They will never win.
Mm-hmm.
They will never win. You have never seen a successful businessman or woman that has the heart of a fool. And that's been the topic of discussion, but the heart of a lot of the things that we're saying are from a biblical perspective.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
So
100%.
life is perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Life is perspective. Life is the continuous, never-ending pursuit of perspective. When you reach and gain new perspective, just like you reach and gain new levels in your video games, like your character grows, your character strengthens, your character
Mm-hmm.
has access to different doors now. You can go see what's behind those doors.
Mm-hmm.
That's what life is for us.
Yeah.
Real life, real world
Exactly.
life,
Uh-huh.
perspective.
I love that.
That's literally what you are. If you've ever played The Sims before,
Sims.
The Sims.
Yeah.
My fiance plays The Sims, and she has her and I and our little house and everything. But
Do you have kids there?
yeah,
Not yet.
one day. But
One day. God
what
willing, God
I'm
willing.
trying to say essentially is that like her point of view, she's the player of the game that is playing the characters of the game. So therefore, she has the ultimate perspective. She is the leader. She is the guider of her little characters in her game.
Hmm.
That's what God is for us,
Mm-hmm.
essentially.
Yeah. That's the great way to put it.
He has the path laid out. And if you ever played The Sims, like you put them in their spots, you put them in their places, and they just kind of, you close your laptop, close your computer, come back, and they've built a whole garden, and they've built a whole thing. Like that is the free will that we have in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
God is, think of a canoe. Think of a canoe. There's only two people on this canoe. There's God at the forefront, standing tall and firm, with standing tall and firm at the front of the canoe.
Mm-hmm.
He is the steerer of the ship. He steers. And we are the person that are sitting down. Through faith, we can't see what's in front of God because he's covering the front.
Mm-hmm.
But we are the ones rowing. And we are the ones rowing. And we are letting him steer.
Mm-hmm.
And we are letting him steer. We are letting him steer. And that's the simplest form and the way of trust and love and honestly wisdom and competency of life that you can have, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that takes time. It takes time to get there. But once you're there, it's incredible. It's
Mm-hmm.
incredible.
And you look back and see where like things that didn't go your way were actually meant to not go your
Yes.
way. You know, you look at the rearview mirror and you're like, oh, this is why I didn't get this opportunity, and this is why this happened, because God just saved me.
That's why I have no regrets
Yeah.
in my life anymore. I used to have regrets. I used to hold core assumptions about the decisions I've made, and I've used to feel a vindication, a conviction towards some of the decisions I've made. But once I was saved by God, it's like, oh, he was working in the background. He's always
Mhm.
working in the background. He's working on you right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Listen.
Have you made it through this far? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, seriously. I don't even know
100%.
how far in we are, but
Yeah, me too.
he's at work in your life. And if you surrender, by surrendering, I don't mean like, surrendering is the simplest form of saying, here I am. I am presenting myself to you, God. I surrender myself. I surrender my will to you.
Mm-hmm.
Lead me, guide me, protect me from the storms that may come. Let my conviction shine.
Mm-hmm.
Let my conviction and my decisions shine when I know that they come from you. Let my reward shine. And let everything that I have because of you be made known, that
Mm-hmm.
it is had because of you,
Yeah.
essentially. Which is why I keep referring and I keep like giving to God. Like none, I would genuinely not be able to even have the confidence to have this conversation with George if I had never made the decision to like embark on this journey of trying to become the best person I can be through God, honestly, and with God on my side.
That's like literally the title of the movie.
Yeah.
Trying to be the best person you can be for God and His purpose. How you said in the beginning of the podcast is that we're just a vessel. That's all we're doing. Like I'm not like, this is not me. This everything's happening right now is because of Him, and everything along the way is through Him and His divine appointment. That's about it. And that's why I wear my heart on my sleeve everywhere I go. I try my best to be an encourager, to uplift people instead of bringing them down. But again, I'm not perfect. We're not perfect. And I, I've had my time to understand that, but I would try my best to be like Jesus. That's what it is. That's honestly what it is.
It's the divine design for your life. Everyone has it. Seek, knock, and He will open the door for you. Learn how to, and pray for it, but learn how to believe without seeing.
Mm-hmm.
That's AKA faith.
Faith. Mm-hmm.
And once a door opens, and you'll know it opens because there is a very strong feeling in your intuition. There's a very strong feeling that is pulling you towards it. You are not pulling it towards you, but there is a very strong conviction in your heart to go there. That's your intuition. That's the Holy Spirit speaking to you.
Mm-hmm.
And AKA works. You took the step. God opened the door. He steered you there. There's a door that opened because of your faith. You walk through it and let it shine. Let it shine. And it's a never ending cycle of just that.
Yeah. What we said earlier, it's faith, results, repeat.
Faith, action, and then essentially results.
Faith, action, result, or faith, action, results.
Now, the caveat is the time in between action and results can vary.
100%.
It will vary 100% because there are just some things that you may be praying for right now that you might not even know that you're not ready for it, but God does. Don't be upset. Don't be impatient. Don't complain. Lament instead. Lament is a biblical form of complaining to God. And if you want to do some research on that, I highly encourage you guys to do that. That is the proper way that God says to essentially complain to Him. But timing. One thing that I have gotten after reading so many different parts of the Bible, one thing that is not specifically said, like I think it's just like heavily implied. And if you read more and more and more and you pay attention to the numbers and the distance in between different sets of actions that go on in the Bible, God is very intentional with His timing. His timing with Abraham, His timing with Moses, His timing with Jacob, like all the descendants of the people that God promised to make. God promised a man named Abraham in the Bible to make his descendants as countless as the number of stars in the night sky, but He didn't give him a time frame. And that's where the continuous motion and continuous act of faith, action, faith, action, faith, action, faith, action. You put your faith and your action into that part of your life, the result will follow. And if it is your calling that to where, the next result you want for your life is through that faith in action, like let the time pass, sit patiently, wait, I believe it's Psalm 23. Be still and wait patiently before the Lord. And what I get out of that is the fact that his timing is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And based off of everything you guys have heard me say, George say, you absolutely cannot and will not get anywhere in your life meaningfully if you take matters upon your own hands. Lie to yourself that your timing is better than his. Every single time in my life that I have trusted, and trust me, God has the capacity to handle your weight. I mean, come on. Like made the universe like I'm pretty sure he could answer your prayers for a woman or a man that you've been looking for in your life. I mean, that's one example of a prayer that has been brightly answered in my life personally. Different avenues of perspective, different relationships I've made, different things that have happened, but like the timing. And it's only the wise and it's only the people that are on the pursuit of wisdom where you should hear this and not be scared.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be scared of timing, because in timing there is a void. There is a void. Well, when's it gonna happen? Or like you get frightened.
Yeah.
And all that. But that works that I speak of that comes after faith, that is the mountaintop. God knows the destiny of your life. He knows he's going to give you the result. He's just testing you to see if you will actually be faithful and then actually do the work, like after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's God's mountaintop for you.
Mm-hmm.
But what we fail to see, and that's the journey, by the way, that's the journey.
Mm-hmm.
What we fail to see, by the way, is we don't reach our egos don't reach our mountaintops until we get the result.
Mm-hmm.
Like God just wants to see that you are surrendered to his will, surrendered to his purpose, surrendered to his way. Essentially, it's just a way. Like I said earlier in the podcast, like God just is, like IS.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much strength and there's so much weight to that statement. Because if God is, then God is everything.
Yeah.
And a mere, you know, extra 100,000 in your bank account is nothing to God. Like it's a snap of your fingers, or a mere encounter with a possible like spouse, you know, a cured relationship with your mother or father or someone in your family that you've had struggles with. I'm just listing different examples I can think of at the top of my head. This is all personalized to you and your relationship with God. But I really believe that is the essence of what God wants to see. And very quickly things will start opening up for you. That well will turn into a spiritual machine. And for those of you guys that haven't read the book called Spiritual Warrior, George will put it in the description. That's my run request.
I got you.
There's a book called Spiritual Warrior. I cannot remember the author at the top of my head, but that is where God wants to place you, each and every one of you, a warrior for his faith and the works that he has for you, essentially.
Yeah.
And this is what you're doing now. Like, this is works. This is the holy grail and the pinnacle for what God wants for you, essentially, and you listening to this, if you've made it this far, but you, like, God is rejoicing now because he sees like, oh, my faithful servant is here now doing this, speaking freely, speaking surrendered to the surrendered or the unsurrendered, you know.
Yeah.
This is what he wants to see for you in your life, and for all of you too, by the way.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's the whole purpose of this podcast. So we're going to wrap up this podcast, but Carlo, you were awesome. You're awesome. Fist bump me, bro.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that you came on the podcast and that you just spoke your wisdom, and again through experience, and also it's not the wisdom you earned through the grace of God, through your intentional experiences and what you reflected on the past. I mean, years of just growing in general, and I know that a lot of people are gonna find a lot of value in this podcast
Yeah.
to give them a just a sense of direction, or or plant a seed. And that's all. The whole point of the Level Up Lounge podcast, you guys, is just to plant that seed for you guys, so you can like not copy my path, not copy his path, find your own path and what that looks like for you. And yes, it's going to be hard. We talked about hardships. Hardships are going to happen anyways, but run after it. Charge after that storm to find out and ultimately to grow faster. The only way you'll grow faster is by putting yourself in difficult situations, asking yourself difficult questions, and be curious. The way I've came around this life was just to be curious, and then eventually I found God. And now, like I say it with my chest, I know who's running it, and I'm just, again, this is not me. I'm just a vessel. I'm just doing His will. Carlo, the same thing. And we just both wish you the best. So, yeah, to wrap this up, Carlo, once again, thank you for coming on the Level Up Lounge podcast. And I have a question for you, my last question, and then we'll end it on there. So, the question to end is, what do you know that you believe the world should know?
It's funny you asked me that because I was just thinking about that. I was literally
Crazy.
just thinking about some things that I could, some little tidbits.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever have a chance to read the Bible, read the story of Moses and read how along his path, along his journey, along his calling, God called him. He was skeptical. God called him up a mountain, right? And there's a whole story about the burning bush, and that it was God's revelation to Moses. That was God's, calling. That was God's like, hey, this is for you, and this is for your life.
Mm-hmm.
I am demanding you to follow like this path for me. We are all people, right? In order for Moses to even entertain the idea, go up there to accept the offer. Eventually, it took some time. He had to have two things. And I love that you just mentioned curiosity, because curiosity is one of them. Curiosity is a spirit. Learn how to harness that. Curiosity is what has gotten me and George to where we are now. I am a learner. I am a seeker of wisdom. I am a seeker of knowledge. I am a seeker of God. And that is all driven, yes, by the Holy Spirit, but there's also a spirit, a really strong spirit of curiosity in why the things of the world are the way they are,
Mm-hmm.
why things of God are the way they are. Secondly, there's what I firmly believe there to be is a spirit of adventure,
Mm.
right? Moses had no idea why there was a burning bush speaking to him. Again, it doesn't say that in the Bible that God came as a physical man or anything, but God came as in the form of a burning bush and was telling him, XYZ, you're going to do all these things. You're going to lead the Israelites and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The spirit of adventure took him there. The spirit of adventure absent before he climbed that mountain to go see the burning bush, that's your resistance. That is your resistance right there. You had the faith to see, entertain the idea, but you refuse to walk. You refuse to step. You refuse for the spirit of adventure that is pulling you towards that. Kind of dumbing it down to layman's terms, the spirit of curiosity, the spirit of adventure. Let that lead your life along with the Holy Spirit. And trust me. Trust me, because I'm going to say this. For some of you, you don't know me, but I love you. Like, I love you guys, seriously. I don't even know who's going to see this or who's going to watch this, but I love you because you guys are me,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys are me, and you guys feel the same things I do. No matter where you're from, no matter what age you are, no matter what your background is, no matter what your desires are, we all have these internal affinities for more,
Mm-hmm.
and these spirits that arise in us through callings.
Yes.
So that, I know you said one thing, but that's two things I really
It's
hope
all
for
good. It's all
people
good.
to take in and harness and pray over
Mm-hmm.
that. Also, just remember, I'm going to share some two or three little personal things that um changed my life. Let me bring up my notes here. So the oil flows where surrender leads. The oil is signifying the cleanliness, the calling, the wholeness, the fullness of God. The oil leads where the oil flows where surrender leads. Okay? That
Mm.
is basically God telling you, surrender to me first. Have faith in me. Trust me. Surrender leads. Leads is the form of action. A man has two lives. His second one starts when he realizes he only has one. That one really impacted me. And this is another big one. In the spirit of curiosity and in the spirit of adventure, there was a point in my life where I found myself idolizing other people's spirit of curiosity and other people's adventure. It is one thing to study war and another to live the warrior's life.
Mm.
Okay. God wanted Moses to live the warrior's life, to not be among the men that are just studying war. Okay. And if you really want change, if you really want to bring salvation to the world, if you really want to be a leader, if you really want to level up, you have to live the warrior's life, and you have to try to refrain from being too much of a scholar of war, of being on the sidelines. I mean, of being on the side of, oh, I don't want to get my feet dirty, the side of being unable to take action through the faith that was gifted on you, essentially.
Mm-hmm. That was beautiful. All
But
right, Carlo. Well, once again, I appreciate you coming to the podcast. It was awesome to have you on the podcast, and I know people are gonna find value in this. Since you have no social media, I do have the email that people can find you on. So if you guys ever want to reach Carlo, any questions, any guidance, anything in general, he's an open book. The email is guidedbycarlo@gmail.com. So yeah, once again, Carlo, thanks for coming on the Level Up Lounge podcast. Greatly appreciate you being my first guest, and definitely we'll have other episodes with you as well. And yeah, do you have anything else you want to say to the viewers?
yes, if any of you guys feel like you have any more questions, if you want to speak with me, just like George said, I'm an open book. I love making connections, organic connections with new people, especially people that haven't seen in a while, or brand new people to me. I'm an open book. I'm very passionate about what I speak about. Um, I actually live the life that I speak of. I can say that with full confidence. And yeah, just like George said, guided by Carlo@gmail.com. Email me, and we can set up a time and date to just, hop on a call or FaceTime, whatever, and just talk. I'll I can try my best to be your friend. I can try my best to give you guidance. No matter what part of life you're going through, no matter what age you are, I can. If you need someone to talk to, I'm here.
Once again, thanks you, Carlo. And as we end off every episode of the Level Up Lounge podcast, find a way to make someone else's day better, do something different, open a door for someone, buy someone food, just bring joy and happiness and love to the world. Yeah, so thanks y'all for tuning into this podcast, first guest, and we'll have many more. Love y'all. God bless. A rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this